It is time. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Ate good. Saw your family, avoided getting trampled by the crowds on Black Friday trying to get that TV. But now it's time for the ASUN Gameday Podcast. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, man, it's been a long time. I thought I'd drop by after the holidays just to check in on everybody and get things going here at the ASUN Gameday Podcast once again.
It feels like it's been so long. It's been so long since we've done one of these, it feels like. It's only been like 2 weeks, but just being away from the podcast feels like forever. So I know for you it's like a lifetime. It's been a while.
Yeah, I almost didn't remember how to do this. I haven't talked on a mic for so long. I got some nerves right now. It's exciting.
It's like getting like riding a bike though. You just get back in it and just you fall flat on your face. Hey,
we've only been here for 15 seconds or so. I feel fine now. Let's go.
All right, let's go. We are weeks into a new basketball season, so obviously we're going to overreact to things. But we're like right at 3 weeks into it. But since the last time we had an episode of the podcast, we've gotten some Power 5 victories. We've done quite good against the University of Kentucky, I would say. Austin Peay got a win back on November 14th, 68-63. A couple days later on November 19th, FGCU beat Kentucky down in Fort Myers. And then just last Sunday, FGCU knocked off North Carolina, which was a ranked victory for us. We call that upset. We can say upset, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were number 18, so yeah.
All right. We'll call it
expect to win, but by rankings.
Yeah, right. We'll call it an upset. Somebody had a number. We knocked them off. We'll call that an upset. And then Stetson taking down Big 12 powerhouse, UCF.
Yeah, they brand new to the Big 12, but they still got the logo on the court, as you can see behind us. So,
yeah, we'll take that.
We're taking that, yeah.
We're rewatching it, but just 21-10, just to know how this game ended is so exciting. But I think that, we had a couple of these early in the season last year, the Power 5 wins, so it's always good to get that Power 5 victory. I mean, non-conference schedules are all over the place. You got NAIA teams and D3, D2 here and there. So when you get a chance to go up against some of the bigger schools, it's always great to get a victory when we can, especially knocking off a team that's ranked. So I feel that FGCU got snubbed. It should have been ranked this week. So, coaches, media, you need to get it right.
Yeah, it seems like their matchup with another highly ranked team at number 5 Iowa at the time, that really hurt them, even though when you look at the top teams in women's basketball, that shouldn't really do anything to FGCU, you would think, just because of a little discrepancy there in the top 10 or so in women's basketball and how competitive that part of the ranking of the top 25 is. But, yeah, I agree with you. I thought with the loss that North Carolina suffered to FGCU, it should have got them into the top 25. But we have some more opportunities coming up, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about here soon was FGCU and their scheduling and setting up for a resume builder already. So it's a good start to the season for our teams. But I mean, with Kentucky though, they might not want to play our teams anymore because you want to play harder competition and get some of those teams experience, but you don't want to lose to them. So
yeah,
Kentucky might say no in the future.
Right. But I know earlier this is hours ago, feels like, but you were mentioning the bracketology right now. We got 2 ASUN women's teams that are, I mean, again, this is November 28th, so
not even into December, and we have
we'll take that though.
Men's and women's came out today, so you had 2 of them on the women's side with EKU and FGCU in, and then EKU as well on the men's side. So yeah, be a great year for EKU if they had both their teams on both sides in the tournament.
Speaking of EKU, amazing transition. We got to talk about last night. As of recording this, we're recording this on Tuesday the 28th. Last night, the first ever triple-double in EKU program history. Isaiah Cozart should have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. Preseason Defensive Player of the Year coming into this season. Triple-double, and he did it with 10 blocks. Now, I want to take a minute, if we can, the people who run all the technical aspects of, we have a huge crew here at the Gameday Podcast. If we could just get the blocks on the screen, the 10 blocks. I mean, he was just I watching them as they happen and then going back and looking at it. It's like they just kept driving to the basket with him sitting down there. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but I mean, he's just throwing them just.
Yeah, you got to think it's got to be a similar mindset to, let's say, a football player going up against a defensive lineman got 4 or 5 sacks. Like, what are we doing here? Like, why are you going to drive at a guy that literally – has he not blocked a shot all year? I mean, it seems like if you're getting 10 blocks, he had, 7 in a game the other week, like last week?
Yeah.
So I really want to know if there's ever been a shot he hasn't blocked since he's been playing basketball, because this is just outrageous. And if you're an offensive player, what are you doing? Like, you need to pass the ball. Get out of there.
He's leading the nation, 29 blocks, 5.8 blocks per game, offensive rebounding machine. The team EKU is just a rebounding team. I think they're picking up right where they left off, and he's a big part of that. That defense that they have. Like,
you're saying 5.8 blocks a game. There's people that don't average assists or rebounds at 5.8 a clip. So that is absolutely insane. Good for him, though. I want to see all the rejections I can get. So that's a great highlight.
I say keep it going.
Yeah. Keep driving down the lane. Let me see that. Yeah.
I mean, people trying their luck. I guess somebody feels like they can get it done, and it's like, yeah, you should have known. But I get it. I understand. You got to try.
And I don't think there might be 1 or 2 better feelings on a basketball court than throwing a ball into the stands.
Right.
I mean, you're either hitting a 3 to win or dunking it over somebody, or I just swatted that ball into the third row.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Bring it. Not much you can say after getting it swatted into the upper deck.
Nah, just next play mentality.
Bench. Want to go sit down, but.
I wonder if you're going and you're still going, and this guy's like blocking shots. Do you ever? It's like, hey, let's not do that because he's done it 7 times already.
Or what if you're his teammate? Are you just like, oh my gosh, like watch this, and you just like you forget what you're doing. You're not even in position because
he's
not
back there.
Get the shot at
him. Right.
Yeah, go down the floor and get the ball. Crazy.
It's crazy, but I love it. So looking at things early in the year again, talking about teams that have surprised us. I'm gonna preface this by saying it's early, like we just have stated. To me, in my opinion, nobody has looked good. Nobody has really looked bad, but it's early, so I don't think you're at the point where you can just definitively say, "Hey, this is gonna be a great team. This is our ASUN champion. They won't make the tournament." That, it's too early for that kind of stuff. But just as we talk about early reactions, surprises, I would say an early surprise for me is FGCU on the men's side. And I still think things will even out. I know they had a great non-conference season last year, slipped a little bit in the conference play. Thought they were going to be really strong coming in. I still think they're going to end up top half of our standings, but they've struggled a little bit here early, and I would say that I'm a little surprised that they are not that they don't have more wins. I know they have played some good games and play Indiana real tough earlier in the year. So just that will be, I guess, a surprise that I've seen. As far as just a positive surprise, again, the teams that are doing well on the men's side, the Stetsons and the Lipscombs and the KSU. I wouldn't say I'm surprised about those teams. Those are all teams that made the postseason last year. Kansas State obviously is our ASUN champion, defending champion. Lipscomb is the semifinalist from last year. But Jacksonville is a team that has surprised me in a good way. I mean, that's talking about a team that was 2 years ago was our runner-up for the ASUN championship. So it's not like, this is completely out of the blue, but they barely missed the cut last year of getting it. I think, a couple games didn't go their way, tiebreakers, all that kind of stuff. They found themselves on the outside looking in and out of the field after being a runner-up. Missed it now, but I think now early in the season, Jacksonville has really impressed me. I think they're right back where I think people thought they were going to be last year, and I think the Dolphins are gonna get some well-deserved attention. I think you got to watch out for them. I think they're back. I think they're going to have a good year on the men's side. Those are my surprises. And I'm mildly surprised. I'm not just saying,
you're not hitting the floor like,
because I still think, honestly, even with EKU, we'll get into this a little bit later, but I think there was, maybe a few days ago, or a week ago or so, or maybe even still now, there's probably a group of people who feel like, they're underachieving or they're not what we thought they were going to be. I still think they're one of the best teams that we've got in ASUN teams. And as we all know, when we come to conference play, that's when it really shakes out. That's what's really going to, quote-unquote, matter. But these games help you get ready for that. Obviously, the test of non-conference opponents and things like that until you get to play in the schools that you're familiar with and those rivalries and those type of things. But switching to the women, I guess similar to FGCU on the men, Austin P women, I think and again, they're not having a bad year.
I think a lot of it has to do with just everybody's feeling their teams out and trying to understand what they are and create an identity. So I kind of know where you're going with Austin P, and I kind of agree with it. We'll see what happens here in a couple weeks.
I still, as of now, feel like not discounting EKU women because they're on a run. I still think Austin P is, as of now, things could change. But I think now they're still I think they're going to be able to get it together and challenge and push for that championship. But I kind of looking. I know they had a slow start, but they also got the Kentucky win that we talked about earlier. So
yeah, they were the first ones.
Yeah,
first SEC win in history for them.
Yeah, so you see that, and that's there. So you kind of it's there. They got it. But any mild surprises for you?
Well, just in general, like you were saying, it's so tough to gauge, especially basketball, with the amount of non-conference games. It's not necessarily who you're playing or how you're playing. It's circumstances. Some teams can't play teams that they want to play in their region. Some teams have to play only the teams in their area for whatever reason. So you really don't know what kind of team anybody has until that conference play gets there, because then matchups become a problem. Like you said, familiarity becomes a problem. And then all of a sudden this team that had 4 losses against teams that are bad matchups because of depth or certain height that they have or what have you, somebody like Austin P comes back because their defense is really good against ASUN teams. Just kind of like what you said with Austin P, I'm a little surprised how they started, but they've won back-to-back games, and, they have a chance to win some games here and get back to 500, get back to where they want to be. You touched on EKU. Man, right now as we're recording this, they're 6-1 for the first time since 1981. That's a big deal. They lead the ASUN in scoring, 81.6 points per game. So not very many times you're going to see FGCU not number one in that category. So the Colonels are definitely on a good run right now. And what do you know? Antoinette Walker back on the floor. She's leading the ASUN in points per game, almost 26 a game at 25.6. And once she starts playing some more games, she'll get under that threshold of the NCAA rankings, which she would be third in the country right now in scoring.
Was she your player of the year last year?
Yeah, I just don't see. She has a lot of quantity when it comes to the amount of offense that she can take, but if she's on, though, it's almost like the ASUN version of Miss Caitlin up at Iowa.
Mm.
So if Caitlin Clark is shooting 30 times a game, why can't you give the keys to Antoinette Walker and let her do the same thing? But she's got Alice still there, so they got a 1-2 combo that's really good, and they got shooters on the floor now, a lot of depth, a lot of returning players that can help her out. But you know who's shooting it if we're down by 2 with 4 seconds left. So
Oh yeah.
that's definitely what it's going to come down to sometimes. And she returned for a reason. I think she wants some more records because she rewrote a bunch of them last year. But I think she can definitely lead the team to potentially a championship if things fall right for them later in the year. But one more surprise, though, that was a positive right now. Queens. They are kind of laying in the weeds, doing some good things that not a lot of people have thought about or maybe didn't even see coming because, I mean, I don't know if you realize this, but their first 2 games were against number 12 Ole Miss, number 1 LSU.
Yeah, you take those 2 games out, they're 3-1.
So when you start like that, I mean, what do you expect? They just got here last year.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're going up against some of the best talent they're ever going to see. Now they have chances, winnable games here looking at their schedule. South Carolina State, Winthrop, Presbyterian, NAI's Columbia, South Carolina, who I'm familiar with. So, I mean, they're potentially going to be 3-3. I'm sorry, they already are 3-3. They got back there because they're perfect at home. Mm-hmm. Now they got these winnable games coming up. How many people had Queens in the top 4 after 2 months of the season? I mean, that's a real possibility if they get through some of the schedule before conference play. Mm-hmm. That's surprising. They've done some good things down there. Coach Brown's doing real good. And, I mean, they're right here putting 40-7 on this rewatch game that we're posting right now, 42-7. I mean, I know competition varies in these games, but if you see a score like that, you're going to play with confidence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're playing basketball or any other sport where things can go up and down and you're starting to roll like that, it really doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're feeling good about yourself, a lot of shots could go in. And right now, Queens has the opportunity to surprise some people coming up here pretty soon these next couple weeks. But real quick, one more thing that I was going to touch on. We talked about it a little bit ago as well, but I think the uptick in our scheduling has definitely helped our league as well. We had some momentum against Power 5 teams that we opened this podcast with today. We've already went up against a handful of nationally ranked teams through a variety of our schools. I mean, FGCU is building their resume right now because they're tired of being in that 10, 11, 12 range from all these selection committees that don't value FGCU.
Yeah.
So they've already played number 21 USC. They beat SEC Kentucky. They've already played number 5 Iowa. And they just beat number 18 North Carolina. So, I mean, a wide variety of our teams are getting onto the national spotlight with these bigger programs in Power 5 schools. And, man, it's a great thing to see, but we're also putting our best foot forward and beating these schools, which that's even going to create more momentum for our league moving forward.
So just looking at the standings, again, it's way early, but it's interesting. It's fun. So let's talk about it. We've got 5 teams across men's and women that have 1 win or less. FGCU, Central Arkansas on the men's side, North Florida, Stetson, Bellarmine on the women's side. Plenty of basketball to be played. But out of those teams that only have 1 win or less at the moment, which one of those teams is most likely, in your opinion, to end up being one of the teams that makes the postseason? And we'll go men's and women's. No, let's just take it as all. Give all 5. You got FGCU, UCA, the men, throwing UNF, Stetson, Bellarmine for the women. Out of those 5 teams, which one of those do you think is going to climb out of this shallow? It's not a deep hole. I mean, we're only talking about 1-4, 1-5. One is easy. And again, this is non-conference. You have 1 win going into conference play.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But
sometimes you're funding your athletic department with those guarantee games to start the season, so you never know what could happen.
Yeah. So just
why
looking
we're
at
scheduling the way we are.
It now, who is the one that you're like, don't look at that record and you need to be worried about them?
I mean, I think the one that sticks out the most is FGCU, but that's not what I'm going to say. So looking at these three women's basketball teams, you always go back to knowing your opponents, knowing schemes, knowing matchups. And
I think you're going where I'm going.
I look at Stetson.
That's the one.
I look at Stetson, and I see everybody sees the 1-6. They're, what? 1-6, 0-4 on the road, 0-2 on a neutral floor. I'm like, they're not worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1-6 isn't fun, but they could be 6-8 after a couple weeks of conference play. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, here they come, 7-2 in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen with them. I think experience on the coaching staff, knowing how to get to the postseason. North Florida, is a new staff. You don't know how they're going to handle the first run through the ASUN on the women's side. Bellarmine, you really don't know right now where they are because a lot of question marks there. So, I mean, that points me right to Stetson on the experience factor, the postseason resume that they've had in the past. And I think that's the direction that I would lean right now is Stetson's going to be the team that each week they're going to be climbing up another spot.
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's exciting. We're here. ASUN, men's and women's basketball is going on. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with this week's matchups to watch.
From the bluegrass of Kentucky, the Arkansas River, to the beautiful beaches of Florida. From the bustling streets of Nashville to the soulful sounds of Muscle Shoals and its vibrant cities. Fueled by growth, the Atlantic Sun operates in the fastest growing region in America and broadcasts in over 16 million homes. We're everywhere you want to be, with access to 9 of the nation's top 80 media markets, including an impressive 6 in the top 50. Our 12-member institutions provide every collegiate experience from public to private to faith-based. All of our member institutions are located in the top 30 states with the most rapid growth. So join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
We are back. ASUN Gameday Podcast. Mike, what you got? What's our matchups to watch from?
All right. Well, for me on the women's side, we got a trio of good matchups as we're recording on November 28th here. We got the 29th here on Wednesday, Kennesaw State against Chattanooga. The Owls are trying to get back to 500 at 3-3 against the Mocs. And then on December 1st, on Friday, I got Jacksonville at FIU. Kind of talked about some teams that could be creating momentum. You got Jacksonville on the men's side. I think Jacksonville on the women's side is a surprise as well. They could potentially be 4-2 after they take on Bethune-Cookman up next, but they take on FIU on December 1st. And then another team we talked about that started slow, winning a couple games. They're the Govs right there. They're going to be in our backyard against Mercer on Saturday, looking to claim their third straight win and then take off from there.
That KSU game is one that I really was looking at on the women's side. Chattanooga's coming to that game. They're 6-1. That's going to be a tough test. But I think Kennesaw State has been solid this year. So I think this is a good test to see if that team can step up to some good competition that's coming in. And on the men's side, I'm looking at a couple I'm looking at in-state all the way across the board. In my 3 games I'm looking at on the men's side. Starting off in the state of Florida, FGCU at FIU. I think it's time for FGCU to put some wins together. I definitely think they can compete. I think they can get a win. Looking at that one, going back to Kennesaw State, they're playing Georgia State. I think this is the first time that they've played in, I think it was 89. I looked at that and I wasn't sure if I read that correctly because I don't know how 2 schools that are this close could have not played each other that long.
Somebody doesn't like each other.
Yes, I don't know if I read that incorrectly, but again, that's another test for a Kennesaw State team that's playing well, new coach, but I feel like they haven't skipped the beat that I think most people thought they were going to. I mean, I think there was an idea that, they're going to come back down to earth, and they haven't. They're looking like just as much of a problem this year as they were last year. And Bellarmine at Louisville. Bellarmine has you always say somebody could have, should have won or whatever. They had West Virginia on the ropes in that game. So they beat Louisville last year. That was the season opener, their first victory against a power opponent. I think this is a kind of win that gets things going for you, similar to the FGCU situation with the FIU getting a win, getting the ball rolling, getting that momentum building here at the end of the year, December, last couple of weeks of non-conference action. So I'm pretty interested in seeing that Bellarmine at Louisville game. I think they can get him again.
What's funny on your list? I mean, it wasn't rivalry week last week.
It was last week.
Yeah, and now we got all three of these in-state schools for basketball going at it. And what's funny about the Bellarmine-Louisville matchup is we're talking about teams really making a name for themselves. If Louisville loses again, they're going to cut that series short? Or, I mean, because just like the women's side with Kentucky, I don't know if Louisville can handle another one of those. But you don't got to tell me that Bellarmine's a good team right now, because as a K-State grad, they played us too. And, I mean, they single-digit loss to Manhattan. So they're taking on Big 12 teams, playing well against those schools. So they're definitely going to come in confident against Louisville. That's no doubt.
The Knights run that city. That's just how I feel about it.
Hang the banner.
Yeah, the Knights run that city. Knights run that city. Yeah, I think these are definitely some good games. Going back to that Austin P at Mercer. I think this is a game Austin P needs to get. I think this is one of Mercer's not looking that great again, even across the board. It's still early, but I think Austin Peay can take that game. The Jacksonville women's game. Looking at Jacksonville, they get in this game. Bethune-Cookman after that. They're competing. Again, another one of our schools that's with a new coach. Similar. I know we didn't talk about them earlier, but Central Arkansas on the women's side. Really competing hard with the new coach, the new staff and things, and kind of trying to flip the script a little bit from what you probably thought mentally about what you were going to get from that team coming into this season. It's like, no, we're not we're not last year's team.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about the era we're in with all of college athletics is with the availability of transfers and transfer portal situations. I mean, you can literally wipe the slate clean on a roster, bring in 7 people, especially for basketball. You bring 3 or 4 in, all of a sudden you're like, who's that? And somebody starts 10-2 when they were on a 6-game losing streak to end the season, and they don't look the same with a new coach. And I mean, it's crazy to see how fast something could happen. And you're right, the UCA schools, I mean, they might be in the thick of it for the entire season.
Yep, so it's time. Talking about in the thick of it. We're looking at it. We've been kind of, we've been hinting at where we think people are, what we're feeling. It's just, it's been too long. It's time for the power rankings. Now, you wanna start us off, or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first, but before we do that, I want to make sure that everybody remembers, since it's been so long that we've done this, these are not the standings.
These are not the standings. That's the disclaimer. All right, so power rankings. Number 6. I'm going from the bottom up.
I like it. We can do that same thing.
Yeah. Number 6, North Alabama. UNA. It's my 6th best team today, November 28th. Way too early, but I'm feeling it. UNA 5, Jacksonville. Talked about them earlier. one of my mild surprises. I got to throw the word mild in there because I don't want people to think I'm overreacting or, you know. But, hey, they're up there. Number 5 is Jacksonville. Number 4, Lipscomb. Lipscomb has looked solid is the word I will use for Lipscomb. They look solid. They look like they are right where they were last year, and they're probably going to be, I would imagine they're going to end up, I think Lipscomb's going to end up in one of the top 3 seeds when all is said and done. But they're not in the top 3 right now. These power rankings coming out today by me because the 3rd place team is Kennesaw State. I know that's a little low for me in Kennesaw State, so
yeah, phones are already ringing here about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you who's not up there and who's not above Kennesaw State. I guarantee you they're not on this list anymore. So I saved myself that
they are in the projection of the bracketology, though.
I'm sure they are, and congratulations to them. But salute to the mountain, but they're not in this list. Number 3 is Kennesaw State. Number 2 right now is EKU. Again, I don't think that the stumbles that they've had early this season change anything. I still think that they are. When I came into the season, I felt like they were the best team we had, and I felt like they would win the title. Or they were obviously projected. Others thought the same way. They were number 1 in our preseason poll. But right now, today, call it whatever you want to call it, Stetson is my number 1 team right now. They're, I think, number 3 in conference in field goal percentage, number 1 in opponent's field goal percentage. They're the only team that's the top 3 in both of those. So they're scoring efficiently. They're stopping their opponents from scoring.
They're beating Big 12 teams.
They're beating Big 12 teams. I mean, they just had Jalen Blackman, mid-major player of the week. They beat Milwaukee, Central Michigan. They got the UCF win. They had a 3-0 week last week.
Yeah, they're the most streaking team in men's basketball for ASUN right now with 3 in a row.
Yeah, he dropped 3 straight 20-point games. I think right now Stetson is playing. I love the picture with them spraying each other in the locker room after beating UCF. I think right now Stetson is they've got the momentum, like you said. They're the hottest team right now in ASUN men's basketball. So that's my ranking.
I like it. I still think you got a couple teams at the bottom there that could make some noise once things settle down in conference play, but you can really only go with what you have in front of you, and I understand that, and I think that's a good list to start us off at the end of November. So let's move to women's basketball. I, too, will start from the bottom and go to the top. I'm going to add in the Hunt team, though, number 7, right on the outside looking in, starting with Jacksonville, number 7. So
okay,
they have some things to work on that they can get up into the top 6, but they're on the outside looking in. Some teams here in the top 5 that you wouldn't normally see. But at number 6, team I didn't think would be there, but they started slow. We talked about this. Have a chance to really bounce back this weekend when they head to Mercer. Number 6 is Austin P.
Ooh, now you got Austin P at number 6.
Yeah, but just
Are you ready for that?
hey, I mean, me and Coach Young, we know what's up. So I mean,
All right, I'm just saying.
Again, if my motivation of what I see right now gets them to put some balls in the basket, score some more points, play great defense once again, I mean, I'd love to see him in the final of the ASUN championship again. So, I mean, whatever we can do to make that happen in the semifinals, from last year at FGCU. But, I mean, let's get to the final. Let's see what can happen. I mean, you got to score some points, though.
All right, but they're 6 right now.
You have a great win
But you're
against
6
Kentucky.
right now. You could be
You have
6.
a great win, but I think the start of the season shocked everybody. If we had power rankings right after that, I don't know what. I mean, what can you do? You can't not look at it.
Right,
So
it's there.
I don't like them being number 6, but that's just where I am based on these other 2 teams that are in the top 5 that I didn't anticipate, and that's why I'm going to reward Number 5 and number 4 here. So number 5, Queens. Talked about it. What are they doing now? I don't know if I've ever put Queens in the top 5 since we've been doing this. But that's fantastic for them. They got a real tough schedule early on. Winnable games coming up. They could steadily maybe get in the top 4. Who knows what's going on. But Queens, because of what they've done so far, they are number 5. We touched on this a little bit ago as well. Another team, what are they doing there? Central Arkansas, number 4. UCA, 3 hard-fought losses to start the season. 2 of them by 3 points or less. And so head coach Tony Kemper, first year back as the women's head coach, but he's been there before. He knows the program. Coached on men's and the women's side before. Look at what he's doing already with some of these players, getting his team to number 4 in the power rankings. And then it's going to get a little boring here because it's the same trio of teams, but it's not the order you might think. Number 3, Lipscomb. The Bisons 3-0 on the road, including at number 18, Indiana. So another team that's played a nationally ranked team in our league going on the road to face the Hoosiers. Earlier in the season, they're 4-2 overall. So that's a good start to the year. You're playing a nationally ranked team. Could have played somebody else, been 5-1, but 4-2 is looking good with that team on the schedule. Number 2, FGCU. It's going to be a little question there because they just came off the great win in North Carolina. They played ranked teams in USC and Iowa, as we touched about. But again, it's not about FGCU because we all expect them to be in that area. It's more about the positivity we're seeing out of another program that's above them, and that's EKU. Right now, 6-1 for the first time since 1981, like we talked about. Started 5-0. It was the best start in program history. And head coach Greg Todd, 300 NCAA career wins. Congratulations to him as well on that. But when you have the scoring that they have right now, leading the league in scoring, I know it's early. Miss Walker got back on the floor, but she's number 1 in the league, would be number 3 in the NCAA. Right now, where things stand, I think rewarding them is the best thing to do. FGCU is going to make their waves when it's time, so they're always going to be in prime position to take that top spot. But right now, I think EKU number 1, FGCU at number 2. And just a sidebar real quick on North Carolina. I mean, we talk about Kentucky. I mean, you got losses to K-State, FGCU, back-to-back losses there. I mean, Tobacco Road's going to be tough because now they play South Carolina. So looking at 3 straight losses for the Tar Heels there right in the face as the Gamecocks come to town here later this week. So, man, good job, FGCU. UNC's on a little string that they don't want to be on with South Carolina coming in. But those are my power rankings. EKU at the top right now, but these are not the standings, and they are fluid.
I love seeing Central Arkansas coming in number 4. Love when we can give the Sugar Bears some love, you know?
You know, it's crazy that I typed both Central Arkansas and Queens above Austin Peay.
That's interesting.
I mean,
interesting.
I mean, good for them though. They've done what we did not expect them to do.
Yeah.
And
hey,
you take what you can get, you run with it.
You run with it. So we're gonna run with it because now it's time for the most anticipated part. It's been a while.
I don't remember what we're doing here.
Oh, it's trivia time. This is trivia time. Now, I laid out a couple of ground rules last time we did this, and Kendrell just destroyed me in my questions. So, but I'm going to ask the questions now because, you know, somebody left us, and so I had to fill in the blank. It just, you know, it hurts.
It's not the same.
It's not, but I'm determined to keep it going. So, trivia is ASUN trivia until I come up with something random about, you know, some obscure thing. I might have to just reach out and make phone a friend and be like, hey, I need some trivia because I know you got some good ones. But for now, we're going to stick with ASUN trivia. And we just handed out a volleyball championship not too long ago. So this is an ASUN volleyball trivia. And then I got a question. I got a deeper question and a deeper question. So I mean, it's kind of like a 3-part trivia.
Confusing me now.
But we might not get that deep. We might leave it where we're at. Now, Fasika, you're here. Don't act like you're not here. So, you're welcome to chime in and answer this question. Don't cheat. But if you want to answer, then answer. So, are you agree with that? I can't hear you. You're so far away. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Let's go. What state has produced the most ASUN volleyball champions?
So what state has produced the most ASUN volleyball champions as a team?
No. What state? Yes. What team?
So like wherever the team's located, that state is number one in the ASUN.
Yes.
Man, I need to look at the ASUN record book a little more for.
Not right now.
I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at anything.
No record book actually.
Need to
down
study
there.
geography a little more for the history of our league.
Should I repeat the question for the good of the group?
I mean, you can. I know the question, but
Okay, I just was making sure. All right.
so are we both answering, or is it me by myself?
I mean, I say Pasika can get in on this, and we can see. I mean, if she wins, if she gets it, then she's going on the board, you know.
Okay, well, I'm going to say Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I feel like I want to say Florida, but I know it's not. But I'm going to go for it. No, wait. Let me think of the rest of the states.
The suspense is just
I know.
amazing. What states has produced? And this is just the first.
It's between
This is
Tennessee and Florida.
This is a 3-level question. We're gonna get deeper because I got
goodness.
since Pasika is here, she's involved. But this is the first layer. I think it's gonna get easier as we go.
I'm going to stick with Florida. There's just more of them in there, you know?
Florida and Tennessee.
Is it at least one of those two?
It is.
Oh, nice. Good job, Mike.
It's Florida.
Yes!
That was again, we just continue the trend of
Follow your first mind. Florida has produced the most ASUN volleyball champions. Now,
It's not fair. I mean, they have like 12 teams in their history, so.
okay. Next level of question.
How many teams have been there?
And so since you all did, this is going to be easy because you did so good guessing the first one.
Oh, great.
There are only 3 states that have ever produced an ASUN volleyball champion. You've already named 2 of the 3. What's the third?
Man, history?
Yeah. There have only been 3 states where an ASUN champion has come from.
Well, LCP got lucky because they're already in Tennessee, so by proxy, they're in the Tennessee group.
When did the other state win?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. I want to know the year.
No, there's only been one other state. So if you have any idea of any other, if you know any recent history or ancient history or whatever you know, if you can run through some teams, there's only one other state that's ever been represented in our record book as producing an ASUN volleyball champion. There have been teams from Florida. There have been teams from Tennessee.
I mean,
And
I don't know if you should say all those states. You should just which states are.
I'm just saying, there are only 3: Florida, Tennessee, and Pasika's on the board though. She's got 1 point. She's got a chance to get another point. Or you can get on the board.
I'll let you go first this time too.
Thank you. It'll be a while, so.
Nah, you don't get a while.
Yes,
I need
I
to
do.
set a timer.
Can I look at a map?
No.
Why not?
No, put your phone down. Just
Look at a map.
no maps.
I can't think without a map.
Just set a timer.
Okay, you set your timer.
You got 30 seconds.
I can tell you there's not going to be an answer in 30 seconds. Sorry,
Uh-oh.
Mike. Microphone, not Mike.
Clock's ticking. For both of you. Now, don't just blurt out your answer unless you just want to, but you got 15 seconds.
I'm between two states.
10.
I'm not going to give an answer that I don't believe in, so no answer.
Wow.
Holy cow.
All right. Mike, you're between two states, so give me one of them.
All right, so if I go with my instinct, I'll probably miss it this time, so I'm going to go back to what I thought it was going to be, but who knows. I'm just going to say Georgia.
You have no pick. All right.
New
Mike's
Jersey.
Wow. Mike's on the board.
Yeah, Mike.
Georgia.
What was your second thought?
Kentucky.
Okay, you ready for the next?
Yeah, let's break it
Now,
down
this
some
is
more.
double. I think whoever, if you get this.
Double elimination?
This is double. This is double.
Double or nothing.
Double. You want to go double or nothing? Okay. So
I didn't agree to that.
All
All right.
That's out of 3, I guess.
So we know which states have produced volleyball champions. This is the best trivia ever. Can you name me the school from each state that has the most ASUN champions from those 3 states? What program of each state? What Florida school? What Tennessee school? What Georgia school?
FGCU and Lipscomb.
What Georgia school?
Kennesaw.
That's your final answer. Boom. Fasika.
Fine. Yeah, FGCU. Lipscomb. Georgia State.
Ooh. She's closer than you.
Georgia Southern.
No,
No.
you're getting worse. You never mind.
Cut that part out.
Lipscomb is correct.
Okay.
Georgia State is correct.
Oh.
Oh, snap.
Is it Stetson?
For Florida? No.
Yeah.
That's where you both missed
North
the Florida
Florida.
school. North Florida?
I mean, I'm just trying to get some teams. I don't think we've said North Florida's name all day.
We did, but no.
I just said Stetson.
No.
Oh.
UCF?
Those are 2 Florida schools playing. Yes, UCF has the
UCF.
most
Man.
ASUN championships from the state of Florida. FGCU just got 4, and UCF has.
Those tricky nights.
Yeah, they have quite a bit more. But I think that was a good trivia, though. I think that's pretty good. I think combined, you could have got there. You know, you should have been able to talk. I think you could have talked each other out of bad answers. But y'all were all in on FGCU, which is not a bad pick. You get 3 in a row, I'd assume you're killing it anyway, which they are. Good luck to FGCU on Thursday. Good luck to EKU volleyball on Thursday. But we're here, ASUN Gameday Podcast. Mike, any closing thoughts?
It was fun getting back at it. I had a lot of fun. Man, I missed it. It was good.
It was good. It was good. We will be back ASAP. It's a Game Day Podcast. We're signing off. Peace.